Hi folks, welcome to week number 8. Congratulations, you are in the last week of our course assignments. Week number 8 runs July 22nd through July 28th. Notice that we do have 3 things that are due, but they are all due on Friday the 26th. So just kind of make a mental note that all the assignments are due by Friday. Hopefully you've been working ahead a little bit so that maybe you've already started your paper, maybe you've already taken quiz number 12. So hopefully this last week won't be too much of a burden on you. Do note though, and I think I said this in all 3 of my orientations, this paper, this final intercultural film analysis paper that is due, is meant to replace a final exam. It's kind of your capstone project. This paper, students will tell me that takes them anywhere from 6 to 8 to some students will even tell me 10 hours to complete. So please do not procrastinate on this paper. Get an early jump on it. And make sure that you let me see at least a rough draft of the first section or 2 so that I can give you some feedback to make sure you are on the right track. This paper is worth 50 points. So it's a big piece of your grade. It can move you 2 full letter grades one way or the other. So you want to make sure that you do your very, very best work. I also really encourage you, if I've made any comments on your papers so far this semester about grammar or mechanical or spelling errors, please make sure that you stop into the Learning Resource Center and have them help you with this. It's really hard for me as an instructor to see an A paper as far as content that gets docked 1 or 2 letter points because there are so many mechanical or grammar errors. I really want to give you those A's if I possibly can, if you're really demonstrating your knowledge through the paper content. But remember, this is a college level transferable course, so there's supposed to be just very few or very minor grammar or mechanical errors. So please use those folks in the Learning Resource Center. They're more than happy to help you with this paper. Just a couple of quick notes as far as what's coming up our final week. Obviously your intercultural film analysis, your capstone project is due on Friday. I'm happy to take a peek at those if you get them to me by Wednesday. Give me a little extra time with these. It does take me a little longer simply because the paper, the assignment is a little bit longer. So it takes me just a little bit longer to read them and give you feedback. But again, folks, I would really love to see a sample draft from all of you in our course just to make sure you're on track. Also note that your last quiz, the last chapter in our book, is chapter number 12, which is also the last quiz that you will take. That's also due on Friday the 26th. And then notice there is an opportunity to earn 10 extra credit points. If you click on the course survey in the Dropbox area, you will pull up directions for completing this, and there's just a couple of things that you need to write. What was the favorite part of your course? What challenged you the most? And then I ask you to give some tips to incoming students that I will share with my incoming group of fall online interpersonal students. So if you think about it, folks, at this end of the, at the very end of the semester, 10 points can make a difference. Think about if you missed a discussion posting that was worth 10 points. Here's your chance to make those points up. And it shouldn't take you more than 5 or 10 minutes to do this extra credit course survey assignment. So please make sure that you get that done. Okay, so what I'd like to do really quick is I have a sample section of the intercultural film analysis that I just wanted to kind of share with you and take a peek with you. Notice that just kind of as a layout or how this paper is formatted, we see the student's name, we see the name of the course, Interpersonal Communication, Section 40. We see the name of the assignment, Intercultural Film Analysis Paper, and then we see the date. Here we see the title of this paper, which is an analysis of the film Precious. And remember that you have 5 films to choose from. Remembering again that you don't need to include a plot summary. I have seen all the films that are on your list of options multiple times. And sometimes what happens is students will go out to, International Movie Database website or another website and take information off of a website. and then they will not cite it. And what happens then, folks, is that's considered plagiarism. If you use information from any outside source without citing it with a full citation, that's considered plagiarism, and that results in a failing grade for the paper. So no need to consult outside sources for this analysis paper. Everything you need is in the textbook and in your own head. So please don't feel like you need to go out and do any outside research. Okay, so this opening paragraph that you see here just gives the reader an idea of what is coming up, and it just kind of functions as an opening paragraph. This particular student starts out with, I chose to watch the film entitled Precious, 2009, because from my perspective, the film is a perfect example of cultural differences that exist in America, and it illustrates many of the concepts that we have learned throughout this semester. So it just kind of starts out telling the reader what film they chose, which you need to do, and in this case, why they chose this particular film. And then the student goes on to say, in the following students, I'll analyze examples from this film with concepts from our e-texts. And they tell the reader these will then be highlighted in bold and italics, and in an effort to demonstrate my knowledge and my ability to apply newly learned course information. So they kind of tell the reader, here's the aim of the paper, and then they give a little preview. They say the following 6 interpersonal communication areas will be discussed in my paper: perception, relationships, nonverbal communication, language, listening, and communication competence. And remember, folks, that you have to have at least one concept from each of these 6 areas for your paper. Also remember that as you're going through, it works really well to organize your paper around these 6 areas, as you'll see that this student does. We see here this first analysis section says the first area that I will discuss is perception. And here we see that definition and page number, again bolded in italics. Because I see Precious making sense out of her world through her mother's words and actions toward her. For example, her mother completely destroys her self-esteem by telling her that she is fat, stupid, worthless, nobody wants her or needs her, and that she should have aborted her in the scene where the principal comes to visit their home. So the student is saying, here's the concept of perception, here's the scene, and then the next piece you see here then does that analysis, and it links the scene to the concept. This scene relates directly to self-esteem, which is defined as the evaluation of personal value, and it's clear to me that her mother is telling Precious her personal value is worthless. The student goes on under this area of perception to say, I also think that culture, which is learned system of knowledge, behaviors, attitudes, beliefs, values, and norms that are shared by a group of people, page 108, relates to this scene. Again, here's the concept. Here's the scene, because it shows the values that Precious has grown up with. It is clear that education is not valued by her mother. She is lying to the principal about their situation, and it demonstrates her mother's attitude toward the principal and her authority. So for this first section of perception, we see that the student has 2 concepts applied. And then we see the next area that I will analyze is relationships present in the film. I can clearly identify a negative sentiment override, which is a negative filter through which events are interpreted on page 271, in which we see when Precious's mother accuses her of intentionally having a child with her boyfriend, Precious's father, Carl. I feel great sympathy for Precious during this scene because I can see that her mother views this as Precious's fault instead of seeing the fact that Carl raped her. So again, we see the student saying, here's the concept, negative sentiment override. Here's the scene. Her mother accuses her of intentionally having a child with her boyfriend. And then why this scene relates to this particular concept. So this just kind of gives you the beginnings of a paper. However, note that even just in these first couple of pages, we are seeing the first 2 areas addressed, perception and relationships. Again, folks, remember you have to have at least one concept from all 6 of those areas. And if it works and it makes sense for you, I really do recommend using those 6 areas as kind of your organizing principle from your paper. So hopefully this little sample is helpful and it gets you started in writing your paper. If you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I do really recommend, again, and I just can't emphasize this enough, to make sure that you send me a sample, even if you just get like this, you know, the first section done, you want me to look at it, I'm happy to do that. Also, I do really want to encourage you to use that Learning Resource Center and have them help you with grammar and mechanics and all of that. So here's to our final week together, folks. Please work ahead, get an early start. I truly don't want you stressed out and trying to write this paper at the last minute. So get an early start and give yourself a little bit of breathing space. Know that I'm here, and shoot me an email if I can help. Take care, folks, as we move into our last week.